Welcome to the History of Simple Things, where we delve into the fascinating history behind the little things that shape our world. Picture this. You're sitting at your desk, scribbling away, and suddenly realize you made a mistake. Instinctively, you flip your pencil upside down and swipe the pink eraser at the end to fix it. It's such a simple, everyday tool, yet the presence of an eraser at the top of a pencil is something we barely stop to think about. But if we take a step back, there's actually a rich history behind how that little pink eraser came to be a permanent fixture on our pencils. Today, we're going to answer many of you had asked why, how, and when pink erasers were added to the end of pencils. Let's explore the history, the technology, and why this seemingly tiny innovation made such a huge difference in the world of writing. Before erasers, pencils had their own thing going on. Pencils as we know them started emerging in the 16th century with the discovery of large deposits of graphite in England. People figured out that graphite was excellent for writing, and so the wooden pencil was born. But here's the thing. While pencils allowed for easy writing, mistakes were inevitable, and unfortunately, there wasn't an easy way to fix them. People used all sorts of creative solutions to erase pencil marks, everything from breadcrumbs, yes, bread, to bits of rubber and even sandpaper. Imagine using crumbs from your sandwich to erase a word. It wasn't exactly efficient or tidy. Enter the eraser. The very first erasers were made of natural rubber, discovered in the mid-1700s by accident. Joseph Priestley, the same guy who discovered oxygen, realized that bits of natural rubber were excellent for removing pencil marks. People started using these early rubber erasers, but they were sold separately from pencils. Erasing still felt like a whole other process, kind of clunky and disconnected from the act of writing. As time went on, pencils and erasers were becoming essential tools for writing, sketching, and drafting. But there was still one big inconvenience. You had to carry both a pencil and a separate eraser around with you. For students, artists, and writers, it wasn't the most convenient setup. Imagine juggling a pencil and a small rubber eraser while trying to keep your work clean and organized. Then in 1858, a man named Hymen Lipman had an idea. What if he combined these two tools into one? Lipman was an inventor who patented the first pencil with an attached eraser at the end. This invention seemed like a stroke of genius. You could write and erase mistakes without having to swap between tools. Lipman's idea solved a common problem of the time, and it streamlined the whole writing process. However, it wasn't an immediate success story. There were legal battles over the patent, and it took years before the concept really took off. So, you might be wondering, when exactly did the pink eraser make its debut? And why pink? Well, that story starts a bit later. After Lipman's invention in 1858, pencils with erasers became more common, but the erasers themselves varied. Most early erasers were made of natural rubber, and they weren't always the most effective. They crumbled easily, didn't last long, and sometimes left smudges rather than clean corrections. The breakthrough came in the 20th century with the introduction of synthetic rubber. In the 1920s and 30s, manufacturers began using vulcanized rubber, which was far more durable and resilient than the natural rubber erasers that came before. At this point, the mass production of erasers was beginning to take shape, and pencil companies were experimenting with different materials and designs to improve both the pencil and the attached eraser. The iconic pink eraser owes much of its existence to the Eberhard Faber pencil company. In the 1930s, Eberhard Faber began producing pencils with erasers made from a type of synthetic rubber that had a distinctive pink hue. These erasers worked better than their predecessors. They didn't crumble as easily, erased cleanly, and left fewer smudges. The pink color wasn't a deliberate design choice at first. It just happened to be the result of the type of pumice used in the manufacturing process. But the color stuck, and over time it became the standard eraser color we know today. So why did pink erasers become so popular, and why did they stay that way? For one, they were effective. The pink erasers attached to pencils were tough enough to erase graphite marks without tearing the paper, and their slightly gritty texture gave them just the right amount of bite to lift marks cleanly off the page. But there was another reason for their widespread adoption. They were marketed as reliable and affordable. By the mid-20th century, companies like Eberhard Faber had established themselves as trusted pencil manufacturers, and they knew how to sell their products. Their pink erasers became synonymous with quality and reliability, and soon, almost every pencil you could buy had that same pink eraser at the top. It became a symbol of convenience and efficiency, a small but powerful addition to the writing process. While the classic pink eraser has stood the test of time, it wasn't the end of the road for eraser innovation. Over the years, pencil and eraser technology continued to evolve. By the 1980s and 90s, we started to see a variety of erasers, from kneaded rubber for artists to vinyl and plastic erasers designed to erase more precisely without damaging the paper. Still, the pink eraser remains the gold standard for most everyday uses. It's nostalgic, practical, and it just works. Interestingly, some pencils today come without erasers, especially high-end art pencils. Artists often prefer to use separate erasers that give them more control. But for the rest of us, the pink eraser is as much a part of our daily writing lives as the pencil itself. So, how did the pink eraser come to be such a vital part of the pencil? It started with a simple problem. People needed a better way to erase mistakes. Inventors like Hymen Lipman paved the way by combining the pencil and the eraser. But it wasn't until manufacturers like Eberhard Faber introduced the pink eraser that the idea really took off. The pink eraser, originally just a byproduct of synthetic rubber manufacturing, became an enduring symbol of writing and correction. It's funny how something so small, just a pink eraser at the end of a pencil, can make such a big difference in our daily lives. Whether we're jotting down notes, drawing, or solving math problems, that little pink eraser has our backs when we make a mistake. And that's a history worth remembering. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.